This is how to create a preview for a product that you would like to sell online. This tutorial today is using one of my products that have been in my store for about 2 years now. It's called Second Grade Money Math Task Cards. It's my #1 selling item in my store. And here are the legal things that you should see, because these are the products that I've been using from some other pay teachers sellers. So to get started, the first thing I want to do is I want to save all the slides as a Jpeg. So to do that, I click Save As, and I change this down here to say Jpeg. And I'm going to leave it where it's at. It's going to put it in my folder that I want. It's going to put it in the task card folder, and then I click Save. And I'm going to replace it because apparently I already have one like that. So we're just going to leave that there. Once you have saved it, what we want to do is save this file to say preview, because I don't want to change this file at all. I want to leave that alone in case there's any changes that I need to make or anything I want to add to it later. I have that option, and I'm going to click Save As. This time I'm going to leave it as PowerPoint presentation, but up here I'm going to change it to say preview. That way I know that the one that I'm working on will be the preview and not the actual product. So now up here at the top it says preview, and if I were to go into my files, I would be able to see that I have 2 of them. So here's the preview, the PowerPoint preview, and here's the actual original PowerPoint. So I'm good to go. And now what I want to do is, I know it's going to sound awful, but I'm going to click Shift and hold it down and click on the last slide. And now I want to delete all of them by pressing delete. So that's going to get rid of all my slides, which is fine because I'm working in the preview. And I want to go to Insert New Slide. And I always get rid of any text by highlighting, hitting the Shift key, and then hitting delete. And it'll delete everything I've done. And now I'm going to make a duplicate slide. And I think I have usually 4 slides, 4 to 5 slides that I use for my previews. Now what I can do is take those JPEGs that we just created, and I'm going to import them into the slides that we have here. And what that does is that takes everything that was on your slide and puts it in one flat image so that people can't extract the image from your preview and create their own. So I go to Insert, Photo, Picture from File, and then I find where I saved the JPEGs, which might take me a second. I have a lot of files here, so bear with me. Second Grade Money Math Task Cards, and they should look like this. They're in a file like this, and the JPEG at the end shows that, that's how it's saved. So I click on the first one, I click Insert, and now I click on the second slide, and I'm going to do that for the second slide that I want to show. I generally put the legal stuff in because I am using other people's work. I also usually have a slide that has links to other items in my store that people might like there is a second version of this that people might want. So I'm going to skip that for today because this isn't really going online. I already have it online. But I am going to show you how to make a splash here in a moment. So what I like to do is take one of the images that's maybe like a middle of the road difficulty or something, and I put that in there as a full-size image so that people can see what size it's going to be when they purchase it. And then to make a splash, this one takes a little bit longer. And what I do, I'm going to show you a few, and then I'm going to just show you where I've saved a previous one. So what you will do is you keep adding more. So I'm starting with slide 6 because that's where my product really actually starts. And I import it, but then what I do is I click on it and I drag it to about that size. And then I do the same thing. I don't touch it. I leave it there in the corner. It'll be a lot easier when you're working with it if you leave it in the corner. To find something like this easier, you can always drag this file to your desktop and find it from there. Okay, so slide 7, I'm going to insert it. Click on it, drag it. Now it's kind of going to snap. You see how it just stops? That means it's the same size as the previous slide. And I can just slide it over and it'll snap into place next to it. And now I have all my little cards. Even though this is one slide, if I want it to look separate, I can right click on it, go to Format Picture, go to Line, click Black, and there you go. So if you have something that's one image, you might want to do that so that people can see the outside of it. But I want mine to look like they are little cards, so I'm going to leave it as is. And to undo what I just did, if you're not familiar with it, I clicked Command Z, and that basically goes back. It keeps going back to what you had already put in. If you make a mistake and you just want to put it back the way it was, you can do Command Z. So once I do that, and I have all of my cards or images that I want in place, it's see-through so that people can still see the product but understand that it's just the preview. So to do that, I do a text box, and I like mine to be, I think 95 is generally what I use. And I try and stick with the font that I'm using for the product, which my favorite is A.A. Claire by Amy Alvis. It's one of my favorite fonts. It's nice and bold. And I type in the word preview. Hopefully I typed in the word preview. Let's try it again. Preview. And I'm going to make it longer. And then what I like to do is tilt it pretty wide. I only do one. And then if I right click, I highlight, I'm sorry, not right click. If I highlight the word and I right click and I go down to Format Text, that's where I can play with it and change the color or the transparency of it, which is what we're going to do. We're going to change the transparency of it. We're going to make it so that you can still see through it. I like to keep it in black so that it turns gray. And over here on the left, we want text fill. Keep it black. And let me move this over so you can see it as it happens. We want to change the transparency by sliding this over. Do you see how it's getting lighter? I generally like to do it around 74, 75, somewhere in there so that you can see it, but it's not taking away from the product. I click OK. I'm going to move it up, and I highlight it, and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it. Now, if you're familiar with the quick commands, I use this, the Control-C and Control-V. It's a lot faster. And I usually do it 4 or 5 times so that I'm getting a bunch, and then I move them down. It doesn't matter if they're hanging off the edge because people will still see parts of the words that you want. But you want to plaster that puppy with the word preview. That way there's no way that they don't know that it's not the real thing. It's just a sample of what they are getting. And now the fun part is click on the word preview as you're holding the shift key, and you can get all of them. And right click, whoops, I'm sorry, and do Control-C to copy. Go to your other slides, hit paste. Control-V is paste. Now you're not done. Please don't think you're done. You now have to save all of these as a JPEG also. So go to Save As. Change this to JPEG. click Save. It's saved. Once again, we're going to click the first slide, hit the Shift key, hold it down, click the last slide, click Delete. So once again, here we are. Insert a new slide, take out the words, insert duplicate slide 3 more times, or however many slides you choose, to have. This time, instead of going to the regular one, we're going to click on the one that says Preview. So I'm going to scroll down to 2nd grade Money Math Task Cards, but this time I'm looking at the one that says Preview. And here are my 4 slides. I click Insert, go to the next one, Picture from File, do it again, oops, Preview, this is my 2nd slide, Insert. I keep doing that for all my slides. Sorry that it's taken so long. I wish I had dragged it to the desktop. It would have been much faster than having to find it through everything. And my last page. Now, if you are going to be keeping this, click Save. Okay, so now do you see how it's all one? Now, if you are wanting this to be a true preview where it's not a PowerPoint, if you don't already have Adobe Pro, you might want to invest in it. I think they're a little over $100, and what you can do is save it by clicking Print. I know that sounds wrong, but it's not. And I don't have a printer hooked up to my laptop, but I click Print. And down here at the bottom, I click Save as PDF. Once I do that, don't worry about any of this. Once I do that, I click Security Options, and I want to click Require Password to copy text, images, or other content. Now, even if your pictures are already saved as a JPEG, it's a good idea to save them as a PDF so that you can make clickable links later on your other products. So I always do this, even though there's really nothing that people can put in on it when it's a JPEG like that, but I do it anyway, and I'll show you what that looks like once you've saved it. Second grade Money Math Task Cards, and here's the preview. See that sign, that symbol right there means it's in a PDF form in Adobe. So this is what it would look like if someone were to print it out. And it would just be pages of that. And if you were to make this, because it's one big picture, if you were to make that, you could do that as a link to your store. I usually do the links to the legal stuff page in the actual product. I don't do links in the preview because they are saved as JPEGs. On the actual product, when people are purchasing, I don't save it as a JPEG first. And I hope this helps. I hope you're able to create some great products for your store using the preview techniques that I've given you today. Thanks.